Welcome to another edition of On the Prowl, the voice of the Cougars, Everett German, where we kind of uncover the hidden gems on the courts, in the arenas, on the fields, and also on the greens. As today we're joined by the men's golf coach, Mitch Krywulycz. How about that, Mitch? I just crushed your last name.
Nice. You can take it if you want it.
No, I don't want that, but you
Yeah.
and I have talked a lot, obviously, on the broadcast during the basketball games. And
Sure.
I think I'm now maybe 2 for 10 on getting your last name correct.
Yeah, and there was a couple decent half efforts in there. I think you're fine. I think four or 5 out of 10 I'm okay with. Yeah.
Well, Mitch, man, first of all, thank you so much for joining us here,
Sure.
On the Prowl. We love talking to our student athletes, our coaches, the ones that really make Charleston Athletics proud. And obviously you're one of those folks as well. It's so funny, as we were getting ready, and young lady Amy that works with us behind the scenes, she was asking where you were from, and you said Australia, and I'm thinking, man, we've had a ton of Australian coaches. Is there a pipeline? What's, do y'all all have the same agent? How do y'all always end up in Charleston?
I don't know. I think maybe there's a little bit of Australia and Charleston probably have a little bit of cross-reference, beaches and food, and everyone's a little bit more relaxed. But I think mostly we're probably just this is a great place to live. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
As opposed to anywhere else. That's why we coach in Charleston.
Yeah, I'm talking about, we had Mike Cassidy. He was on PK staff, and then, of course, Chris Harriman, who was on Coach Mack's staff. And now you're still here, and we are so glad to have you entering your 8th year as the head golf coach. And, earlier this year, Mitch, and I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to get out there, but I follow what you guys do. It's the Hootie, the adult Bills Bay, and I see Charleston and South Carolina, all these big names. And after day one on the leaderboard, who was standing high and just kicking butts and taking names, but the College of Charleston men's golf team. What is going on with your squad this year? Got some pretty good golfers representing the Cougs.
Yeah, they're really good student athletes, and they've I think they've hit their stride right now. We're probably a very different team than we were for the past few years. Obviously, we had an amazing player in Kieran Van Veek, and I think we're a deeper golf team probably now. We were forced to be. That's was going to be our makeup. That was how we were going to still compete with these really big teams. But yeah, Hootie at Bulls Bay, that was pretty amazing. They were 41 under through 2 rounds. I don't know if I've ever seen a team that hot. We were kind of joking at how many putts were going in and how good they looked. And through 9 holes of the second round, I kind of thought, man, if I could just get in the car and drive home to Johns Island, this might be the best scenario for our team. I just need to stay out of the way. So I was, telling them how good they were, hanging out in the trees, watching them do their thing, and just trying not to mess it up. You know what I mean? You're watching them do exactly what they want to do, what we coach them to do. So, they were feeling it, and they had it going for sure.
I would imagine to be an elite golf coach as yourself, you probably have to be somewhat of an elite golfer. At Augusta State, you were a standout. Talk about your playing career there, where you were one of the top golfers in the country.
Sure. We had it's probably why I coached college golf. I just had such a good time playing college golf. So appreciative and grateful kind of for the opportunities that it provides. So on my college team, we won the national championship my junior and senior year. And we got to do amazing things. Went to the White House, Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, all of these just wild opportunities for a kid from Australia who hits a golf ball at that stage mostly in the trees, and then would wrestle with his own mind to get it out, and scrap and fight for a par and a sneaky birdie here. But yeah, by the end of my college career, I think I found a little bit of balance. We had an odd team in the way it was set up, but we were extremely competitive, and we won a lot of tournaments towards the end. I think in pressure situations, that really helped bond our group. We really believed in ourselves, and we kind of had a chip on our shoulder. And I think there's elements that have kind of come out of that naturally are how I feel, and probably how I coach our teams to be and how I want them to feel. It's, we're always playing against, like you mentioned, South Carolina, Clemson, these really big teams, these big schools, and we expect to compete with them and beat them. And you kind of have to have a little bit of fight in you, and they're not going to just let you walk all over them. So I think a little bit of that has transferred from my playing days probably into the way I coach, and that's probably just the most authentic way I can coach. I don't know if I could do it any other way, honestly, but yeah, the playing days definitely translated into me becoming a college coach, and those national championships probably padded my resume a little better than it was and allowed me to kind of sneak in here and let Matt give me the job.
Well, when you look at coaching, if it's in football or basketball, they're drawing up plays or breaking down defenses. In golf, how does a golf coach players? Is it helping them with their swing? Like, kind of take me through a day in terms of what a practice for a Mitch team looks like.
Sure. A lot of it is they're together so much. I think you have to think about a basketball team's going to have lift, then they're going to have, sports med, then they're going to have maybe their practice in the afternoons or vice versa. They're together, let's call it 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. Our guys all take the same classes. They lift together at 6 a.m. beforehand. They drive to the golf courses together. They play and warm up, warm down. That's another 5 hours. They're probably together 8 to 10 hours a day. So that team chemistry, that bond is extremely strong, and it can be strong in both good and bad ways. You know what I mean? They're kind of like siblings in a way. They're together so much. They can be unbreakable, but they can also, get on each other's nerves. So I think when you have athletes that are as good as they are, you always want it to be harmonious. You want them to go along to get along. But in the end, golf is so individual. You know what I mean? The shot you hit out there doesn't really affect me, who's 2 holes ahead of you. So there's a huge part of our coaching during the day that is one-on-one. A lot of it is, hey, how was class? Hey, we saw you at practice today through the first hour. Wasn't that great, but it was good by the end. What happened? You've got a lot of these kids in the afternoons there because they're practicing for so long. They're still communicating with their family and partners and all that. So you see a lot of ebbs and flows throughout the course of the day. And a lot of that lends itself then to a lot of one-on-one relationships. You're talking them through how their day went, what their week's going to look like, maybe the areas that, their game can improve. And a lot of that comes down to maybe improving their lives. And that helps them with their golf game. But fortunately and unfortunately, there's probably not a lot of X's and O's. A lot of it is kind of following them, appreciating them, and then trying to guide them, keep them on the path that they're already on. These are like extremely gifted players who are used to working really, really hard and being alone a lot. So golfers in general are very stubborn. So it's a good thing. You need it to, be resilient and stay confident, but it also makes coaching maybe a little bit of a slower process. You need them to be confident and believe in themselves, but at the same time, you have to have that one-on-one bond to slowly kind of, guide them back to the path that you think is best for them at the time.
You've done a great job in your 8 years of being able to identify talent, guys that maybe fly under the radar from the bigger schools. What do you look for when you're out trying to find the next men's golfer at Charleston?
Sure. It changed a little bit over time. You obviously want a certain skill set. You need them to be able to hit the ball reasonably well and have some strengths from a skill set in terms of how we as adults probably look at it. Probably the biggest thing for us is how competitive are they? We're going to ask for them. Most of the time, anyone who's played golf comes home, and 90% of the time you don't play well. They're the same way. Their standard is just higher. But you need them to be okay with most days they're going to come home. It's not going to be the score that they wanted. And you need them to be okay with it and be a little bit upset, but then wake up the next day and just be willing to go full ball again. So the competitive nature really helps there. You need them to be resilient just because of the nature of the game. And then for us, diving back into that, they're together 10 hours. We have them lifting really early, jamming in all their classes from 8 to 11. Then they're rapidly, we'll feed them as a team. We'll have lunch together as a team. And then they're playing 18 holes. Then they're studying. You need them to be independent. If they're, when we're watching kids play junior tournaments, if we see their parents handing them a Gatorade every second hole and a handmade PB&J and patting them on the back, we're like, these probably aren't our guys.
Yeah. We have a name for those, but I'm just not going to say
it.
Yeah,
we and I get it as a parent, like you want your kid to be successful and you feel like that will help and you love them.
Right.
So like there's an element where even I do that to our guys while I'm coaching them. You care about them.
Right.
But in terms of identifying kids that we think will be great student athletes when they're 21 and 22, we really look for kids that we think can be independent and take care of themselves, because we really need them to be able to do that and then take care of their teammates at the same time.
That makes sense. Because, yeah, I've always wondered, a college or a high school kid going to high school tournaments, those junior events, it's a very unique position to be in, and for you to be able to identify, and like I said, you've had some great ones here. Of course, you talked about Kieran, which still to this day, it's just odd to, this was like last year, obviously Charleston is an Under Armour school, to go on the underarmour.com page, and on the front page there was Kieran supporting all the Under Armour golf gear. What was that experience like, finding that diamond in the rough for sure?
Sure. Yeah, pretty wild. So obviously Kieran being from South Africa, and we're used to just the way our in and out of state tuition works, and the way the school looks at students, where we initially dive into South Carolina and we try to get the best players we can. And then after that, it doesn't matter if you're from, Georgia, state of Georgia where I played college golf, or Australia. Right. Those kids kind of cost us the same in scholarship dollars. So we're probably inclined to, kind of broaden our net a little bit. So that brings in players from other countries. So that was initially the start of Kieran. And obviously I have experience, obviously being from Australia and Southern Hemisphere golf. But he really just grew as a player. His initial attributes that made him a good player, his confidence, he was independent, he was structured. Now he had fun with the boys and they liked him, right. And like they would, go back and forth, and they were like brothers, and they would bicker and fight and all the rest of it. But in terms of a player, that's what allowed him to grow. He was structured, hardworking. He knew what had to be done, and we always used to coach him a little bit different, because we thought if we can get him around the lead, he'll win. He'll just take care of it.
The closer mentality.
Yeah, he'll just take care of it. We don't need him to be leading by 2 or 3. Whereas some other players, you're like, I'd love some breathing room for this kid, because it's nerve-wracking. It's their first time. For him, it was very easy. We could coach him a little softer, because we knew if we just got him playing okay, he would find a way to get it done. And I think that will happen in his pro career. I think that ability that he has, that belief and that innate will to win, will kind of come to the fore once he kind of gets on an established tour. But through college and the College of Charleston did a great job communicating to everyone his senior year. But I mean, almost winning a PGA Tour event was absolutely crazy. I mean, you're talking about he probably would have won $250,000 if he was pro just for that week. I mean, he was playing unreal golf, and he didn't look out of place, and you could tell the other players were worried about where he was on the leaderboard. And it was phenomenal. Yeah, like you mentioned, now you go on Under Armour Golf, and he's the one modeling the stuff, not Jordan Spieth or any of these other guys. So they obviously think really highly of him, and he's a cool dude too.
Well,
so
Mitch,
everyone wants to be him.
Selfishly, that's got to help you. I mean, when Kieran wins that event, and they kind of look at his profile, played collegiately at the College of Charleston, that should absolutely help you get into doors that maybe you wouldn't have in the past. Am I correct?
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully. I think there's an element to it. It would definitely help us, no doubt. But 16 and 17-year-old guys who play golf are normally pretty confident, and they all think that they're Kieran, so they're not too worried about in a couple of years everyone will think Kieran will be 26 going on 50 in their minds. So I think I would just love to see it, because it would be a great story, him kind of coming up from where he came from, was loyal to the College of Charleston when people were pulling him in a million different directions. He played all the events. He never backed out because of ranking. He took all of it on the chin, and he played great golf, and he did it all the way to the end. So from my perspective, it'd just be really nice to watch him be able to do what he loves for 20, 30 years. Kids love watching him play golf. I think he would definitely kind of propagate golf in Charleston and South Carolina as well as South Africa. So that would be great for the game. So it would just be it'd be fun to watch. I'd like to sit at home on a Sunday afternoon and watch him kind of beat up on some guys.
You know, Mitch, you talk about being loyal. I mean, you've been very successful. We've won, I believe, 3 CAA titles, Coach of the Year, the whole 9 yards. What keeps you at the College of Charleston?
Probably the College of Charleston.
Right.
Everyone here has been phenomenal to me. They, from Matt and Kyle to Lynn to everyone that's kind of in our world, they allow me to coach the way I want, and I recognize I'm a little different. I'm probably a little intense, and I probably like college golf a little too much, but they allow me to do that, and that's really enjoyable. And I see, obviously players like Kieran, but I see a path forward for our program where, to me, from a coaching perspective, I feel like if I can get our team to be top 20, then I've given them a chance to win a national championship. Gotcha. And that's kind of when people think, well, okay, what does it look like in his mind? That's kind of my goal. If I can deliver us a top 20 team, then I feel like we've bought a ticket to the lottery a little bit.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of what I'm pushing for, is to keep feeling like, okay, can we develop our players? Can we make them, good athletes, good students, good mentors for the younger kids coming through, and try to deliver us a top 20 team? And that, I think in return, gives them a chance at, kind of their college goal, which is to win a national championship. So I feel like that is like extremely possible. We've obviously gotten pretty close, but there's a lot more work to be done to kind of get that ranking to where we feel like we're a chance. And that's it. That's all I kind of care about. People let me coach the way I want. They support me. This is obviously an amazing community, and I feel like we can do it. So what else is there to worry about?
Well, Mitch, I'm not Jim Nance, but if the team is going for the national championship, or you have an individual, sure, I may have to, get Lynn, we have to get on Flow Hoops or Flow Sports. I may have to brush up the old golf commentary and, just have to make that call for you.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll live stream it, but Lynn has seen my pretty bad phone camera work, and Golf Channel live streams that now that I say it out loud.
Yeah, okay. Well,
you can cover over the top of that and give us a little bit more enthusiasm.
I will have somebody who knows what they're talking about. I can just kind of talk high level and let them explain the strokes and the wedge and the irons and putting on the green, the whole 9 yards. So, but Mitch, we are so fortunate and blessed to have you here at Charleston. You continue to make the men's golf program elite, the athletic department proud, and thank you for taking some time to join us here on the Prowl.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going 2 for 2. This is Mitch Krywulycz.
Nice. It gets better each time, doesn't it? It's like
head men's coach on the Prowl. I'm on the Prowl to say his name correctly, and I just did it twice in one setting. Thanks for watching us here on the Prowl.